Sometimes everything just feels strange. You wake up in the morning and something doesn't fit. The things that used to excite you no longer move you. The people you used to connect with now seem to speak a different language. You feel disconnected, confused, like you're losing something. Or worse, like you're losing yourself. What's happening to you? Are you going crazy? Or are you simply beginning to awaken? In this episode, we're going to talk about that moment. That instant when the soul starts to scream louder than the world. And even if you didn't know it, this isn't madness. It's spiritual awakening, and it's just the beginning. The beginning of emptiness. It all begins with a subtle sensation. A kind of emptiness that settles in without apparent reason. It's not sadness, it's not anxiety. It's something deeper, as if the soul were becoming restless. You go about your routine, you go to work, you talk to your friends, but everything feels automatic, as if you were acting in a play whose script no longer belongs to you, as if you were pretending. Maybe you start to ask yourself, why don't I care about this anymore? Why do I feel so emotionally drained? What's the point of all this? You're not alone. Many people go through this exact stage, and strangely, it's often right there that awakening begins to knock at the door. When life loses its color, what's actually happening is that you're starting to see life without filters. And yes, that's scary at first, because what's familiar starts to fall apart, but you still don't know what's coming next. And that exact point is the threshold of awakening. There's no turning back, but you don't yet know where to go. That's why many feel like they're falling apart, when in truth, they're finally being found. You're not alone. When you're in the middle of this internal confusion, it's easy to think you're the only one going through it, that something is wrong with you, that you're broken somehow. But no, you're not a mistake. You're not alone. This feeling of emptiness, this disconnection from your previous life, it's not a glitch in your system. It's a sign of evolution. It's your consciousness telling you you're ready for something more, even if you don't know what it is yet. What you're experiencing, many souls have lived through. People from all corners of the world, some in silence, others openly, searching, questioning, awakening. Even the great teachers went through this threshold. Alan Watts, Krishnamurti, Tolle, Yogananda, Ram Dass. They all experienced internal collapse before finding clarity, before awakening. So, if you feel like you don't belong anymore, if you feel something inside is changing, maybe it's not the end of your story. Maybe it's the real beginning. The moment where you start writing your life from a deeper level. And if you found your way to this video, it's not by accident. There's a part of you that already knows, that has already awakened and brought you here. What's falling apart? At this point, many people ask, what's happening to me? Why do I feel like I'm falling apart inside? The answer isn't easy, but it is liberating. What's falling apart is not you. It's the idea you built about who you are. For years, sometimes an entire lifetime, we construct an identity based on what we've learned, what mom approved of, what dad demanded, what school rewarded, what society praised. And from that, a character is born, a self that tries to fit in, to fulfill, to meet expectations. And through repetition, we start believing that this character is us. But it isn't. That's why, when awakening begins, the first thing to shake is that structure. The goals you used to chase no longer motivate you. The relationships you held onto feel empty. Even your opinions change. It's the ego, losing control, the old self, crumbling. And yes, it's terrifying. Because the ego doesn't want to die. It wants to keep you in the familiar, even if the familiar is quietly killing you. But here's the good news. This isn't about destroying you. It's about revealing you. You're not that character. You are what remains when the character falls away. And in that silence, something new appears, something real, something yours. The signs of awakening. And then, something begins to shift, not all at once, not clearly, but you feel it, as if the universe were starting to whisper to you. Repeating numbers appear, 1111, 22, 22, 4, 4, 4. You dream about people you haven't seen in years. You stumble upon phrases that answer exactly what you've been wondering. It's not coincidence. These are synchronicities. It's life speaking to you in its own language. Your sensitivity also begins to shift. You start feeling more. Music, art, a look can move you deeply. You can no longer tolerate heavy environments or shallow conversations. You need space, silence, nature. Some days you feel an unexplained peace. Other days you cry without knowing why. You're not broken. You're cleansing. You're waking up. You become more intuitive. You begin to listen to that inner voice you once silenced with noise, with tasks, with pressure. Now, that voice begins to guide you. And the most surprising part, when you follow it, things fall into place on their own, as if someone, on another plane, were organizing your path. These signs are no accident. They're a reflection that your energy is shifting, that you're no longer vibrating the same, and the universe, which responds to vibration, begins to align with you. You're not losing your mind, you're tuning into something greater. The fear of losing it all. Awakening isn't always light and joy. Sometimes it's dark, silent. Sometimes it feels like you're hanging between two worlds. Because when you start letting go of the old self, you also have to let go of everything that held it together. Friendships, jobs, relationships, ideas, routines, and that hurts. Fear arises, fear of not knowing who you are, fear of no longer belonging to what you once knew, fear that this process will leave you completely alone. The ego panics. It tells you you're losing control, that you're giving up your life, that you'll be left with nothing. But the ego is wrong. You're not losing everything. You're releasing what no longer has a place in your new frequency, what no longer represents you, what once served you, but now holds you back. This fear is a test, an invitation to trust, to let what must go, go, and to allow what's meant to come, to find space to arrive. Because on the other side of fear, there is freedom, and a life far more authentic than you ever imagined. The beginning of the journey. If you've made it this far, it's because something within you has already awakened. Even if it's just a spark, even if you don't fully understand it, you are no longer the person you were. Something has shifted, and no matter the fear, confusion, or uncertainty, a truth is beginning to emerge. You're not broken. You're remembering who you are. This is not the end. It's not collapse. It's the beginning of your real journey, a life with more truth, a path more aligned with your essence. You'll keep questioning. You'll keep letting go. But you'll also start creating. Feeling guided, noticing signs, choosing differently. Because once the soul awakens, there's no way to fully fall back asleep. You might doubt. You might resist. But the seed has already been planted. And with patience, with love, with presence, it will grow. This is the first step, the first of many. And even if the path feels lonely at times, you are never truly alone. Welcome to your inner journey. Welcome to the awakening. If this episode resonated with you, feel free to share it. Leave your experience in the comments and subscribe to keep exploring the stages of awakening together. In the next chapter, we'll talk about a key moment on the path, when nothing makes sense and everything begins to shift. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this journey.